Hello everybody, and welcome back to Boss Battles of Wraeclast, the somewhat comprehensive guide to the various bosses in Path of Exile 2. In today's episode, we are in Ogham Village, and we are hunting down the Executioner. Now, the Executioner can be found at the end of the zone, so as soon as you finish killing him, you can make your way onto the ramparts from the gallows behind him, and then you can make your way towards Ogham Manor, which is near the end of Act 1. And taking on the Executioner, he's not that difficult. Some of his abilities hit like an absolute truck, but he doesn't have that many abilities, and as long as you work out how to avoid them, you can pretty easily take him down. Anyway, without further ado, here is the Executioner. Okay, there is the checkpoint, and the boss arena is just behind it, the Courtyard of Death. The Executioner is stood right at the back of the area, on top of the gallows. He's a big meat slab of a boss. He'll then chop the head off that poor gentleman strapped to the block. He'll then jump down, and the boss fight will start. Now, throughout the fight, the Executioner has 3 separate heavy attacks. As usual, they have the standard effect, so he'll glow bright red. You'll hear the standard heavy attack sound effect. And they can be quite deceptive, 2 of them, because they have similar animations. So the first one you'll notice him use, he'll swing the axe behind his head, it will kind of charge up with this fire damage, he'll then slam the ground after a couple of seconds, and it will have this expanding circle of fire damage on the floor. That will then disappear shortly afterwards as well. Just make sure as soon as you see him charging up the fire damage on his axe that you're moving away from him as soon as possible. Use dodge roll as well to get some distance between you. Getting hit by that circle of fire damage can hit very hard. The second heavy attack, he will do the same kind of animation where he'll swing the axe behind his head, but he will then immediately slam the ground in front of him, and you'll notice a shockwave line come out from the axe in front of him. And again, it can be quite deceptive for people who haven't done the boss that much. If you've only done him a couple of times, it's a bit deceptive. There are subtle differences in the animation for those 2 heavy attacks, but again, it can be quite deceptive. Just make sure that as soon as you see him glow red, dodge roll to the side. If he starts charging up with fire damage, then start moving away from him. The third heavy attack is the guillotine drops. He'll kind of punch his chest, and you'll notice this kind of wind circle on the floor at your character's feet. A few seconds later, this guillotine will drop from the sky in the center of that circle, and it hits incredibly hard. It hits me for about 70 to 80% of my health, and I am a armor base user. I am very, very protected against fizz damage, and that attack is pure fizz damage, so yeah, make sure you get out of that circle as soon as possible. Now, for his other melee attacks, he does obviously have his wide swing attack. He does also do that jump slam there. He will jump at your character and slam the ground, but then he will immediately turn around and slam the ground behind him afterwards. So when you see him jump at your character, make sure you dodge to the side of him rather than dodging behind him, because he will immediately turn around and slam the ground afterwards. And finally, he will also summon adds throughout this fight, but I believe these adds aren't working as intended, because he will kind of do this shout where he'll summon the adds. You'll notice the kind of red circle shout effect around his character where he's summoning the adds, and then if you're stood far enough away from the gallows, they won't actually come over to attack you. But as you can see here, because I haven't been that close to the gallows, a lot of them have summoned and just kind of stood around the gallows and not come after me. So as soon as I go close to the gallows, I've attracted all of them, I've gotten their attention, and now I'm being attacked by an army of these decrepit mercenaries. There will also be a few crossbow users on either side of the gallows as well, who have this crossbow fire attack, where you'll see this fire circle on the floor at your character's feet when the crossbow users are aiming at you, and then a few seconds later you'll see a fire arrow shoot into the center of that circle and explode. So again, make sure you're standing outside of that and you kill those crossbow users as soon as possible. You can avoid the adds for most of the fight, but just be aware that if you do avoid them for the whole fight, at the end, when you need to go up to the gallows to free the NPC and complete the quest, you will get attacked by a big army of them. So it might be worth your while going over to the gallows every now and then, just killing off the adds that are there. But yeah, that is the Executioner. A variety of very heavy melee attacks, but as long as you avoid them, you'll be absolutely fine. When you've killed the boss, he will drop an uncut support gem, and then you can head up onto the gallows and release Letis, I believe her name is, or Letis. She'll be strapped to that rack there, you just have to pull on the lever and she will drop off. She will then complete the quest and go back to Clearfell encampment. Your quest will instruct you to go back to the encampment as well. If you want to, you can go through the entrance onto the ramparts behind her and pick up the waypoint and then head back to town. When you complete the quest in town, she will give you an uncut skill gem at level 4, I believe. But yeah, that is the Executioner. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you've enjoyed, and I shall catch you in the next episode.